Hi there, I'm Dan Elder from Kidasa Software. Welcome to this video about importing and refreshing from Primavera into Milestones Professional 2021. To get started with importing from an XER file, the first thing you'll need to do is export your XER file from Primavera. We have information on how to do that in the Help tab. If you go to Help Topics and scroll down in the table of contents and go to Import from Oracle Primavera, and then Export from Primavera. And this help file will explain how to export from Primavera so you can import into Milestones Professional. Once you've got your XER file exported, you can go to the Connections tab in Milestones and choose Import Schedule from XER, XML, etc. And then we're going to choose XER via Project Import Wizard. You should get this dialog to pop up that lets you pick a file, so I'm going to click on Browse, and I'm actually going to do that same file that was already chosen and press Open. And I've got my file there, so I'm going to press Continue. And Milestones will kind of go through a process and then eventually open up an import window to give you a lot of options for importing from the XER. The most important option is to set the ID field to text1. That's kind of the default for importing from XER and from Primavera in general. The ActivityID is going to be in the text1 field. Then you've got some other options. You've got try a built-in template, let the wizard guide you, and use your own custom template. These options all work with the XER import. So I'm going to get started with try a built-in template. And you can see there's lots of categories of different schedules and also different types within each category. So you can kind of see in general the layout of some of these. If you just kind of choose the different file, it kind of opens up an example schedule right there and shows you. This isn't actually using your information from your XER file, it's just kind of example information. So I'm actually going to just get started with just the basic Gantt. And if you want to change any of the options, we're going to want to press the Next button. So I click Next, and you've got some options here. So you've got summary bars. You can bring over the summary bars from the project, or you can let Milestones Professional draw the summary bars for you. So then it would only import the lower level tasks, and Milestones would automatically draw the summary bar. For now, I'm just going to bring the summary bars over from the project itself. And then you've got some other options, shade % complete if you want to show % complete on the actual schedule itself. Show dependencies if you want to kind of show those vertical links between different tasks. Color critical tasks red, so if it's marked as critical in the schedule, it will show up as red on the Milestones file. That's pretty much all the options I'm going to change for now. I'm going to go Next. And you can enter a title here. So I imported this before, so it already has this default title right here. So I'm going to press Next. And you can add text or symbol notes. So I'm going to actually put the name field from the file onto line 1 of the start symbol. So it'll kind of appear right over the symbol. Alternatively, you can use symbol notes, which allow you to have more options for the placement of the text. You can kind of draw a connector and kind of place it wherever you want on the schedule. And I'm going to press Next. And right here I can choose the layout and rows per page. I'm actually going to increase the rows per page. Maybe I'll do like 30 rows per page. Sounds pretty good. I'm going to press Next. And then you can choose a color theme if you want to. Maybe I'll choose Autumn. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to press Finish. This is kind of the last option screen here. And once you press Finish, it's going to go through a process and kind of show you what task it's working on, and then it'll display the schedule kind of in the background. And you can see it importing each of these tasks onto the schedule. And then it says import complete. I can press OK. And there you go. I imported that schedule from the XER file. Now if you want to see how this information is connected back to the XER file, we can use the arrow tool and kind of zoom in on the schedule using our mouse wheel and the control key. Then I can click on a symbol on the schedule, and in the selection tab in the symbol links sub-tab, you can kind of see how that is connected back to the XER task. So this automation tag right here is going to show you first the activity ID, then the date field, and then any other information that's linked back to that task. So in this case, we have the name field coming over on the first line of symbol text. And you can see what these commas separate if you click on the create/edit tag for refresh button. And then you can kind of see how that symbol tag is built with the activity ID 20, date field start, and symbol text line 1 is name. So I'm going to press OK. So this milestone schedule is linked back to that XER file. So if your dates change in Primavera, you will just have to re-export with a new XER file, and then after that you can go to the Connections tab and click on Refresh Previously Imported Project, and then click on Refresh from Primavera XER file. But first, before I do that, I'm going to actually show you a different way to link your information back to Primavera. So I'm going to go to the File tab and click on New and New Empty Schedule. So this method involves just building your schedule and then linking the symbols individually back to the Primavera information. So to do that, I'm going to draw a couple symbols on the schedule and show you how to add a tag back to Primavera. So I'm going to use the small plus tool here on the toolbox, and then just click on this row and drag, and then click on this row and drag. Then I'll get the start symbol, the finish symbol, and the bar connecting the two. The dates that you place these on don't really matter. We're going to link it and then go through the refresh process to get the correct dates from the XER file. So to get started, I'm going to use the arrow tool and click on a symbol on the schedule. And then in the symbol links sub-tab, in the yellow box is where I can add the tag. So it's very similar to the tag we had when we imported, but we're going to manually create this tag. So if you're just getting started, I would click on create/edit tag for refresh, and then it'll kind of build the tag for you based on this information. So I know the activity ID is 10 for the task that I want to link. And since I have the start symbol selected, I'm going to choose the date field of start, and I'll press OK. And then you can see that tag gets built right there, 10, start. And I'll do the same thing with the finish symbol. So I'll click on create/edit tag for refresh, and I'll do activity ID 10, and then date field, it's going to be finish, since I have this finish symbol selected right here. And I'm also going to add some symbol text to this finish symbol. So I'll just bring over the name field to that finish symbol and press OK. So now these symbols are actually linked back to that XER information. So if I go through that refresh process and choose the XER file, they will actually update to the correct dates based on that XER file. Just by adding those tags to the symbol links tab, that's how you link the information back to the XER. I'm going to do the same thing with this start symbol and this finish symbol, but I'm just going to type it. So this is going to be activity ID 20. So I'm going to do 20, start. And you have to press the little apply button right here next to the yellow box if you just type it in there. So just click on that. And then for the finish, it's going to be 20, comma finish, comma name. And I'm going to press the apply button. And if you want to check, just like double check that you put everything in the right spot, you can actually still click on create/edit tag for refresh. And it should have that information filled out for you automatically. So that looks good. Another thing you can do is link column and cell information back to an activity ID. So if I want this task column to bring over the name field from the XER, I can just type name right here into this automation tag box. So I'll just type name and apply tag changes. So now this column is linked to the name field, and then we just need to go to each of these cells and link them to a specific activity ID. So I'm going to click once on the row and then click again on the cell to select the cell itself, and this automation tag I'm going to change to 10, update tag. So now this cell is linked to activity ID 10 of this name field. Same thing with this. I'm going to go to the automation tag and update tag. So now this is linked to activity ID 20's name field. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the refresh process. So connections tab, refresh previously imported project, and refresh from Primavera XER file. And then I'm going to find that XER file, the sample project engineer, and I'm going to press open. And then it should pop up soon with a dialog giving me some options to refresh. So refresh using text1, I'm going to keep it as that since we imported last time using ActivityID, which was on the text1 field. And symbol text, I'm actually going to say refresh symbol text. If you recall, I put the name field on the finish symbols. So I'm going to say update only symbols with symbol text tags. An alternative, if you changed your mind about the symbol text or something, you could choose a second option, and then you could choose whatever fields go on the start or the finish. I didn't link any symbol notes, so I'll just leave this unchecked over here. And refresh %complete, you can actually bring over the %complete from the XER file, and it'll apply it to whatever task rows you have linked. I'm also going to have refresh tagged columns, so it's going to bring over the name field to these two cells right here. And I'm going to uncheck update dependent symbols if dependency mode is active. This is just extra symbols you might have added to the schedule. And I'm also going to choose highlight change dates. So it's going to put an orange box around any dates that got changed. And I'm actually going to have this option checked right here, recompute date range when refresh is complete. These tasks actually take place back in the past, like in 2014. So it should update the date range for the schedule. Instead of 2021, it should update it to whatever these schedules' dates are. So I'm going to click on refresh. And it should say the refresh results. So 2 cells got updated, which is those 2 cells we linked. And you can see it actually added the name to those. And then also the date range got updated as well. So that looks pretty good. So it kind of brought over the date range, I think, from that whole schedule. And I can just press OK. And then I can kind of zoom in here a little bit, and we can kind of see what symbols got updated. Actually, I'm going to change my date range just to end at the end of 2014, so we can kind of see these tasks a little more clear. So I'm just going to choose this finish date, this displayed end date for December 31st in the Dates tab. So that looks pretty good. And you can see it linked, since these were linked, the dates got updated to whatever dates were in that XER file. And then also it brought over the symbol text as well. So a couple things I can do right here. I can go to the Connections tab, and those orange boxes around those symbols are refresh highlighting. So I can uncheck refresh highlighting if I don't actually want to show those orange boxes anymore. And the second thing is that star is actually a status symbol. So with this default template, the status symbol is a star, so I can actually change that to an invisible symbol if I want to. If I just double click on this status symbol on the toolbox, and I can just change the shape to number 28. That's going to make it invisible, and I can also take away the date on the text and date properties. For date placement, I can choose hide, and then press OK. And so now it looks like just the task is there without that status symbol visible. And if I go to the Dates tab, you can see it's filling the symbols and bars to the status date. So if your schedule takes place in the future, or if you just don't want to show %complete on the symbols themselves, you can actually uncheck these two options. So symbols fill the status date and bars fill the status date. That'll kind of update those symbols and bars to use the normal color instead of the after status color. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial of importing from Primavera and also linking to a Primavera XER file. Feel free to email us at support@kidasa.com if you have any questions, and visit our website at kidasa.com. Have a nice day.